Hello everyone, it's Farket here. In this video, I'm going to go over the patch release or update of version 0.68. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of good ones, a lot of fixes. So let's get to it. Probably one of the most important changes to begin with is the location of the chainsaw has changed. They've moved it to Cave 3. This is the location that's probably easiest to get it from. It doesn't take long, but to get there through this point, you will need the rock climbing axe to get back out. Though you can keep going through and get the rock climbing axe, there are multiple ways out of here. But here it is on the map. As you can see, it's a very short distance. I think it takes you about 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds to reach it from the entrance. Just be careful jumping down that ledge. You can climb down, we just jump down the ledges. And then once you're down at the bottom, you come to this area with lots of gore and stuff, and that's where the chainsaw is. There's also 2 cans of fuel as well. The chainsaw is no longer in the other cave, it is here. That ledge I jumped down, you can't get back up it without the rock climbing axe. Here's another entrance you can get into. This is the quickest way to get to the rock climbing axe. And you can pick up the chainsaw along the way. They changed the sound effect of using fuel to a twinkle instead of a whoosh. Here's the sound now, and here's the sound before. They fixed players being able to be set fire while swimming. This was really noticeable when you had firemen or the fire cannibals launching stuff at you while you're in the water. They can't do it anymore. When you do get hit, it pushes you under the water. But it also appears that most of their shots seem to go over your head. This is a very good change. Didn't make sense getting set on fire while underwater, that's for sure. They fixed an issue with crocodiles not swimming in water anymore. I tested this one, it was difficult to get them in the water, but once I got them in, it was near impossible to escape them. And they just keep chomping and coming for you. They are reckless. They just want to get you. You can't outswim them. I tried swimming underneath him, but he got me, and then I ended up dying. So yes, be careful around those crocodile-infested waters. The sled storage has an interaction scheme, which means you can cycle through and pick what you want to place on it. So you can place the rocks or the sticks. I'm using key bindings here just so you know. It allows me to drop things and pick things up quicker. But yes, you just press R and cycle through. You still can't have different things on there at the same time, so it's either sticks or rocks. It's a very good change. It saves you having to get that rock out or that stick out. And while I'm at it, players can no longer crouch while driving the log sled. Never noticed this, but yeah, you can't do it anymore. So there you go. Traps now require you to hold down the E button for 3 seconds to reset it. And it doesn't sound like much, but when you actually go and do it, you'll realize how slow it really is. And I found it a bit of a pain because I play in 4K and the icon's really small and it was really difficult to make out. They also noted at the end of the patch notes saying this: we found an issue right before release. Some old traps won't appear to be resetting. However, if you hold down the reset key for 3 seconds and the new reset UI will appear. They note this is a balance update. I think it's a good one, because traps can be overpowered, especially the deadfall trap. They've matched the color of suitcase cloth to the one in the inventory, so it now appears as a red cloth inside. It looks pretty cool. I think they've done a good job with this. And I also never noticed, but there's aerosol cans in there, actually textured and everything. I wonder if they'll be added later on for something else. They improved the model and textures for first-person rebreather geometry. It didn't look any different, but when I went into camera mode using mods, you've got the rebreather on you still. So I guess that's how they fixed it, by attaching it to the player head rather than the player body. They fixed rabbit skin boots disappearing sometimes while on the turtle sled. I never noticed this, but here it is anyway. In caves, most hanging bodies now have blood when hit. I tested a couple of bodies that were on the ground and they don't work. It's only the hanging ones. And when I tested it, it's quite gruesome. They look quite horrific. It really does add to the horror elements, the way they look. They've done really good with this one, that's for sure. They fixed thrown spears disappearing after picking up a speared fish. I never noticed this before because I don't use a spear to get fish, because it's really difficult. It took me about 10 throws to get this one. But yeah, while I'm at it, they fixed fish continuing to flop around after being killed. In the user interface, dying of thirst and starvation messages are now with other tutorial messages down the bottom left, with a greater emphasis to showcase the urgent need to take action. Also, thirst damage also occurs on an 8-second timer, and instead of a low random chance of each frame. And is displayed in the HUD like starvation, with the icon filling back up to red, and thirst and hunger damage message now flashes red when taking a hit. Don't starve, and don't die of thirst either. It looks pretty intense. They added a new control option to sprint mode, allowing you to choose between hold and toggle. It's similar to how the crouch toggle system works. This leaves the player running as long as they can for how much stamina they have. You have to keep pressing the run button again if you run out of stamina. It seems to work fine. It would take you a little bit to get used to. They fixed the area where the player could swim under rocks under a lake. I believe this is around the center of the map. There's a little pond up against the cliff face with fish in it. You used to be able to swim up underneath it, but it appears they've fixed it. Some people used to build up in there. But yes, it looks like they've made the water a lot more shallow as well. They improved the look of blood on the katana. Never really noticed this. It looks good anyway. They fixed some missing eye texture on held lizard heads, but this is a side-by-side of what it looked like before and what it looks like now. It does look a lot better. They fixed the player not appearing in a dead pose after dying in water. Didn't really notice anything here, but I tested it anyway, and here's the footage. Seems the same, though the end screen is covered in water. Maybe that's new. Dropped animal heads now have a sound effect when dropped. I thought they did before. I tested a few of them. Doesn't seem any different, but oh well. Animal head pickups now have a trophy icon instead of a head icon. See the little trophy there? Look at it, looks good. They all have this, and when you go to place it on the wall mount, there's a trophy symbol. The stat pages have had another overhaul as well. They've removed the strength and athleticism red cross icons after having a food or blood infection. I tried to get a blood infection and food poisoning, but it just wouldn't work for me. But they've changed the way it looks now. The stat pages now display approximation of athleticism in a progress decimal value. So it's displayed at between 1 and 99 to match strength. Underlying values remain the same. Also, strength now updates 100 times per day instead of once per day. This makes changes to strength easy to track. And it will be much easier to track this. They've made a better looking up and down arrows in the stats page for strength and weight. I don't know if it looks better. And they also changed the layout and added stealth, and the font's changed as well. Also, health no longer shows a percentage sign after its value, showing this is the actual HP value. This is an awesome change because it's going to be much easier to track strength, and it is going to be a lot easier to track athleticism. That was shooting in the dark before. Remember 25 minutes underwater without a rebreather, or 136 minutes of running, and that will raise your athleticism. They've done an overhaul of how armor works in the game too, which is pretty cool. It now shows differently in the HUD. Bone armor shows as white, and 10 pieces makes a full set. And 10 pieces will get you 400 armor. The stronger armor will always go on top. So if you wear deer skin and bone armor, the bone armor will go on top. So if you get hit, the bone armor will go first, which is pretty cool. Stealth armor appears like a dark green. It's probably a little too dark because you can't really see it. Doesn't look much different to when it's empty. But stealth armor provides 200 armor when it's full. So 20 a piece, whereas bone armor is 40 a piece. And 10 pieces of stealth armor will give you 100 stealth. You cannot go higher than 100 stealth. So if you wear rabbit fur boots, it doesn't do anything to stealth. It does give you some warm armor, but you're better off filling that last 20% with bone armor or something similar. Unless it's just hiding the mechanics from us. Who knows? Because there's mud as well, which you cover yourself in. Haven't tested that. Not sure what that will come to. Lizard skin also gives you 200 armor, but no stealth when it's maxed out at 10. Deer skin, however, that provides cold armor, and maxed out at 10 pieces will give you 100 armor. So it's the weakest of all armors, but it does give you cold armor. And the same thing goes for cold armor. If you've got 10 pieces of deer skin, but if you add the boots, it doesn't do anything. So you can fill that other last 20% up with something else, like bone armor or stealth armor or lizard skin. But yes, this system is good. Very good. In the patch notes as well, it states that rafts are now faster, slightly faster. I did a test of the small raft and the houseboat. Small raft is noticeable. You can tell it is faster. As for the houseboat, I'm not sure. If it is, it would be 5 to 10% faster. Any increase is a good increase, because these things are slow. There is a new bug that I've noticed that they added. When you open up the survival guide when you first load a game, it does this weird hand thing twice, and then it stops. It's not much of an issue. I think it might slow down opening up the book, but meh. They fixed the wrong texture on the goose, but I wasn't able to get one up close. Could only get it in the water, and that's just not worth showing. They also fixed it so they drop one large generic meat when they die. It just pops off. There's no skinning involved. It was that difficult, I gave up on trying to get the head off it. I'd assume it can be done. I've heard of people doing it. They've fixed the textures on sharks, both dead and living. I wasn't able to get a recording of the one swimming, because the mods don't work properly when the patch changes. They look a lot better, a lot more alive. Here's some footage of the old sharks. As you can see, they look much more dead and that they've been there for a long time. I think these sharks, the ones on the beaches, are actually great whites, and the ones in the oceans are reef sharks. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not a sharkologist. But yes, a problem is when you place it on a wall trophy, it turns back to the old model. But if you leave it off, it looks much better. I assume that they will fix this in the next patch, hopefully. But yeah, this is what they look like side by side. The new one's on the left, old one's on the right. New one looks much better. They've done a really good job on this one. If they fix it up, we'll all be hunting for shark heads, that's for sure. The Redman has received an overhaul. It's questionable how good it looks. He definitely looks different. Before they changed him, they just used a cannibal model and painted it red. But now they're using a new model and he looks kind of disabled almost. The way his eyes actually don't point in the same direction. I don't know if it was because I wasn't close enough so the textures couldn't render properly. But yeah, it didn't really look that good. And he's wearing shorts as well, which I find bizarre, unless they're just jeans that have been cut off or pants. And yes, his teeth are still really sharp, as in the way the other cannibals are. They've got really sharp teeth. And the opening cutscene's also changed. He does look different. Here's a footage of what they used to look like. Here are the rest of the patch notes that I didn't cover. I'm not going to read them out because it's going to take too long, but these are the ones I haven't covered. I'm just going to show them on the screen for 5 seconds each. There's 2 parts to fixes because there's a lot of fixes in this one. There's also a lot of fixes to multiplayer as well. And multiplayer also covers dedicated servers. And there's been a few performance upgrades as well. And some other stuff that's been changed. Some minor additions. Nothing too crucial. But yes, let me know what you think of the changes in the comments section. I want to know if your thoughts are positive or negative. But I think mostly this is a positive one. The trap one is going to take a long time to get used to. But if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers.